Hey everybody, Ben Mankiewicz and Brett Ehrlich with you here on What the Flick to discuss Downton Abbey. Now, a word of warning here, one of us has not seen Downton Abbey in years.
That's not true. I haven't seen years of Downton Abbey.
Okay, all right.
There are years of Downton Abbey I haven't seen. That said, I just realized that there is an Amazon streaming app on my smart TV. So I have picked back up my Downton watching in the last few weeks.
Okay, all right. So you're you're years behind. But
yes.
You were. So it's good that you're here because otherwise it would just be me by myself because Alonzo and Jenna aren't here this week. And there was a somewhat significant episode. I mentioned this last week. It bears repeating. The DVR on Downton Abbey just fucks with you in a way that just seems cruel because nothing is titled Downton Abbey. It's titled Masterpiece Classic. Right? And so while this now is episode 4 of season 5, what it shows up as on your DVR, I'm going to talk about it every week, just fair word of warning, is season 8, episode 28 of Masterpiece Classic.
Right.
Right, because everybody can follow that. Right.
And episode 27 might have been another dramatic reenactment table read of Lear.
Totally, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. So you're not able to follow along in any freaking way. And by the way, this rebranding, it's not working.
Rebranding how?
Masterpiece Classic.
Yeah.
That's this rebranding your whole slate of programs.
Can I ask a very important
By the way, in
question?
my head, I was spelling programs with 2 M's, an E and an S.
Good. That's nice of you
sure.
to adapt yourself.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Does Laura Linney still introduce?
She does. She's still in.
So what the hell? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
There was one contract. They're like, we have Linney, and she's our transatlantic accent bridge between America and
Right. She has an American accent that the Brits will find palatable.
Yeah.
Right. I saw her at Telluride, and she was there for a movie, and she was very nice to people and very polite. And all I wanted to ask her was, how did that come about?
Yeah.
Like who called whom? How did that, who knew? But I didn't. Those questions seem like not the kind of question that's going to ingratiate myself to her in any way.
Really? Yeah. I'm sure she gets that all the time.
But I mean, I want the business, like literally, how did it happen?
Right. Tell me who your lawyer is. What did you give? What did they give up?
Do they pay you, or do you think, are you such a believer in this that you were happy to lend your? It took, like, you could literally have done it twice, like you updated it after 3 years. Anyway, okay, so this episode, I mean, there'll be some spoilers in here, obviously, for you.
I'm
It
fine
doesn't
with
matter.
that.
Okay, who's dead at the point you're watching, by the way?
So far, the people who are someone the closest to death is there's a world war.
Oh, so all the...
And someone has been injured and is being brought back. It's pretty clear he won't live. Now, in that episode, he may have died, but the way I watch Downton is I try to stay awake for it at night, and it's impossible. I'm fine with hearing who dies.
Okay, so the guy who doesn't die is Matthew.
Yeah.
Who's then eventually has a relationship with Lady Mary. The
Oh.
daughter. They get together, and guess what? Even though, like, it turns out they're actually happy, then they fall in love,
Really?
and then he dies.
Then he dies.
Of
Did he
something-
die today?
Of something else altogether.
Good.
Of a disease called I want to make movies.
Oh.
Like he died of that.
Good.
So-
Yeah, way to opt out of Downton Abbey.
A death that drove England crazy. Because it was like they were happy, it was together, it was the couple, it was the Sam and Diane of England, and then and then he's like, literally, it happens like this. Oh, I'm going to have a baby, and life is wonderful, and I'm just driving this short trip to the Abbey, and oh, there's a truck! that's the end of that. And then that's it, it's over. And it was the Christmas episode, which is the big finale, and so in England, people were devastated. But anyway, so he's dead. The sister died, Sybil.
Good.
The sister we sort of like, the energetic middle sister.
Oh.
Yeah, we like her.
No, she's dead.
Yeah, she died.
How did she die?
I think in childbirth.
Recently?
Yeah, I think she died. I don't remember, but
Okay.
she's gone, and now she ended up marrying the limo driver. Which
Okay,
was a big
yes.
thing. And he's still on the show, and he's sort of been adopted by the family, but he's still a revolutionary.
Okay.
And now the fact that he's a revolutionary is sort of coming out because he keeps bringing in his new revolution. It's been like 7 years, so he now has a revolutionary girlfriend who's always saying how great it is that the Russian Revolution happened and fighting with Lord Grantham. So anyway, but on this episode, Thomas, who is Thomas is still a footman or whatever the hell he is, a valet, and he is super gay. And he apparently in this episode, one of the main things is he may be trying to get the gay out.
Really?
It's unclear. He is signed up for some choose your own path advertisement, and then he goes, vanishes, says his father's sick, leaves, and then he's shooting drugs. He gets a spoon and there's a syringe, but I don't think it's heroin. I think he has been sold some drugs because he's realized he'll never be happy. He fell in love with another footman who wasn't gay, who liked him but wasn't
Right.
gay. I was given to understand that every British man would at least try it.
Entertain the notion.
Right, but apparently not. So he thinks, I'm never going to be happy. I'll never find someone. He's also a duplicitous fuck.
Yeah,
So-
he's terrible.
and he still is, and no one gets it. Like he's still stirring. 7 years later, he's still, you know what I overheard, and no one's like, one person on the show is like, Thomas, I'm interested in this, and I'm interested in whatever you got next. I got it.
So he's trying to get the gay out.
So we think he's trying to get the gay out, and his new friend is, she's seen him with these drugs and is doesn't know, just knows something's wrong with him. So
Now, do you like that development? Was that effective in this episode?
half of me wants Thomas killed the way I wanted Brody killed in Homeland. Like,
Yes.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. You're doing the same thing with the character again and again, and it doesn't.
And it must get frustrating because they do kill people in this show.
Yeah. Like, why not Thomas? Why can't he go for a drive?
At least there's some.
We're just lovely drive. Oh, no!
Anything else stale in the
Oh
show?
yeah, I mean the mere fact that the entire show is moved along from a plot point by people overhearing other people's conversations.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was in the back room.
Yeah, just somebody just whisper. Like then they just whispered, there'd be no Downton Abbey. But that said, it's delightful and it's still good. And it won the SAG Award last night for Best Television Series.
Really?
Which, I was tweeting the SAG Awards live or blogging live for Entertainment Tonight online. And like that's the only thing that I think I really reacted to was this sort of sense of, hey, I love the show. I'm watching. I look forward to it on Sundays. It's fun. It's a great thing to watch with your partner. But I mean, it's what are you gonna? Mad Men wasn't even nominated. You can tell me this show's better than Mad Men. This show's better than The Americans. This show's better than Game of Thrones. It's
Now my question is,
Boardwalk Empire. That's crazy.
do you think the good shows split the vote?
I guess. And then there's this loyal, older group of, because who won last night. This is interesting. I mean, we end up segueing here into a conversation about SAG, but like, so it was a celebration last night of Fargo, not the TV show, the movie, because Frances McDormand won and William H. Macy won.
What was he in?
Shameless. He won, because SAG does TV too.
Yeah.
So I like, and what's her name won? She's like the most famous actress in America now. She's
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Sandra Day O'Connor won, and it was great to see her back and working. And,
Yeah, it's weird
turns
for
out-
other people to judge her for a change.
That's right. Yeah, it's the irony. When somebody leaves the court, you think you're not going to have your career's over.
No.
Turns out no.
Fantastic.
No, this woman is not a judge, and she's not white.
Who is it? Viola Davis.
Thank you. I kept wanting to call her Olivia Davis. So, and Viola Davis won. So I just mean they were given SAGs were going out to professionals.
Yes.
Like they weren't giving them to
I get
little
that.
kid actors.
Yeah.
So maybe that had something to do with the Downton vote because that age group is probably a Downton fan and some people who are like, I'm not watching a show with wizards and dragons.
Right, I get that. I very much get that. This is just only people talking.
Right. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, there's no.
So there is some staleness to it, but it is fun. And now we're set up with Elizabeth McGovern, the wife of Hugh Bonneville, the lady Grantham, who you've seen. Their marriage is pretty good, but he is she is flirting massively with another man, Richard E. Grant, and she is, but she's just flirting. She would never ever do anything. Although we learned that Maggie Smith did something 50 years ago.
A dalliance?
With a Russian prince who's now back because he's been forced out of Russia by the revolution. But she's being dismissed constantly by Hugh Bonneville.
Huh.
So once again, there's change coming. And like as a woman here thinking, I don't like not getting included in the economic conversations. I don't like you saying the only reason this guy's coming is to sleep with me and not to get my impression he's on paintings. But the fact is he does want to sleep with her. He may also want her impression on paintings, but nonetheless she feels incredibly dismissed by her husband because he's incredibly dismissive.
So what do you really gravitate toward about this show? You've told me two dynamics that are happening.
The exact same thing you gravitate to if you watch Scandal. or I presume How to Get Away with Murder.
Like, ooh,
Right,
what is
right.
going to occur today?
It's so Julianne Moore, who also won in that same vein in the SAG Awards for Still Alice last night. She was on One Life to Live or some soap opera, and she gave a little shout out to that in her speech. It's like when you get into a soap opera. It's the exact same sort of, oh, I'm going to watch Dallas tonight. I know it's terrible. I'm going to watch Dynasty. I know it's terrible, but this is great stuff. It's that, except with with actors who you ready well acknowledge. Oh, these people could probably do anything. Like they're British and they're they are professionals.
Well, who was the best? Who gave the best performance this episode, and who you're like, I could have done without that this episode?
Well, Thomas was a little different. At least he wasn't doing the same thing. There's a bit of, I mean, they really last week they had a moment where Hugh Bonneville and the main guy who runs the house, Carson, they were discussing where to put a memorial to World War I. And Hugh Bonneville was saying, the Earl was saying, let's have it in town. And the other guy was saying, no, it shouldn't be in town. It should be in this beautiful, it should be on our cricket field. And so he was saying, well, we want people to walk by the monument regularly, which they'll only do if it's in town. And Carson was like, that's ridiculous. And then this woman is at a graveyard and says, oh, my boy loves to come see his father and pay his respects every day as he walks to school. You're like, oh, that conversation happened right then as they were in the middle of this debate. Like sometimes they can't resist delivering their point right then and over the head. And there was even a little bit of that last night. But that said, what was nice about last night was a rare moment for the Earl of Grantham to be right about something. This is the dumbest man in the history of England, right? I mean, he's wrong about everything. And there wants to be a housing project, sort of a housing development built on their land. And he doesn't want unsightly little homes. You know? But then at the end, he's like, look, these homes are ugly and this is the wrong place for it. I got it. We're going to build, but we're going to do it right and we're going to keep Downton beautiful. And it was a moment of, look, I'm giving a little bit, but this is the wrong thing. And then the other two smart people who are usually in favor of progress were like, all right, maybe we'll give you this one. We won't build it here as long as you keep your mind open to something else. And it was a rare moment where he, like at one point earlier this year, he thought the guy was flirting with his wife was flirting with his dog. I mean, that's how dumb he is. You know, I mean, he literally misses everything. But anyway, so, but you know, look, it's, divorce also was the other thing. It was the other cool thing this episode we learned. So we see Thomas maybe trying to get the gay out, and then another character, divorce, and we see that like that ruins your career. You get divorced, not only do you lose your job, he's in the Foreign Service, you'll never go to a party. Like it's it, you're persona non grata if you get divorced.
Right.
Like you cannot get divorced.
Good, England, keep it in.
Yeah, that's right.
Live miserable.
And meanwhile, Lady Mary decided she had sex with a dude, and that meant she was going to marry him, and she was like, I don't think so. No, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. So that's all. Those are the big scandals.
Good. Sounds like if I can stay awake physically, then I'd be into it.
Yeah, it's fun. You really have to watch it with someone. It is not to be watched alone.
So you can talk about it.
You have to talk about it. You don't just watch it alone and then think about it. There's nothing to think about. Nothing interesting to think about. But anyway, it was fun again, and we'll be back next week with people who've seen it. And if you've caught up, I mean, as always.
Not going to happen.
Right, there you go. All right.